Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Power Patron FTK guide. I am not super excited to bring this one, to be honest, because I don't like FTKs, not a lot. But I do think this is a playable build of the deck, and I think if people are worried about decks like Rolad and Blitzclick just being able to break your board, and especially if you do like the Amorphage lock, this is a version of the deck that they can't break your board because they're dead. So, I think there is merit to this build, which is why I'm bringing it to you guys. I don't have a lot of combos today to show off. I've only got 3, mostly because a lot of those starters, because your whole game plan is just to kill them, it doesn't really matter if you start with like Nervado, discard a spell trap, because it's just basically Medius 1-card combo. But you started by going Assault Search Medius instead. Doesn't really change a whole lot. Same with like Pendulum Treasure versus Shade, Pendulum Treasure combo is just Shade combo, but without your normal summon. So I don't really feel like I need to show off like every little combo to get there. The only combo starter that I couldn't figure out how to do it with just that engine card was Vidolium. I just couldn't get enough level 10 bodies when I started with Vidolium, unfortunately. If somebody has a combo that uses just Vidolium and however many cards in your hand to get there without playing any more bricks, let me know. But anyway, I want to talk about this list a little bit before I actually get into the combos, because this list is the only list that I haven't actually made like an actual video on the channel for before this, so I feel like I should talk about it a little bit. This list has a lot of, if people don't know, I guess, the FTK build focuses on making 4 copies of Super Dreadnought Railkin and Gustav Max, which burns your opponent for 2k each, and is not a hard once per turn. So what you'll do is you'll just put up basically 8 level 10 bodies over the course of your turn and make 4 of these. Now, if you're wondering how you can make 4 of a copy you're only playing 3 of, Medius will be used to shuffle 1 of them back. So you'll have 8 in total to use. That being said, this combo is pretty fragile. It loses to very little interaction because you need to get those level 10 bodies. Now, mind you, you have some amount of insulation. You can set up recapture, which will beat a monster effect. Of course, that means they have to not interact with you before that you get to this card. I have not actually tested this build in like gameplay settings, really just combo theory. I don't know how much you can set up before your opponent can, or without your opponent being able to interact with you, and how badly that'll mess you up. I'm not really sure. But the combo is pretty easy to do. You have a lot of 1 and 1.5 card combos that just get you there pretty easily. You do have to play, so you have to play the 3 Gustav Max, the 1 Anger Knuckle, and the 1 Rahamu. Because you need to be able to normal summon one of your 10s from your hand. But other than that, this does just look extra deck-wise like a normal Power Patron list, and main deck-wise also looks like a normal Power Patron list, which I think is a big boon to this deck. Unlike most FTK decks, which have to, like, go out of their way to do it, this deck does just kind of get to do it without a whole lot of commitment, which is really scary. Again, my only issue is that if your FTK gets stopped, you don't have a lot to back you up afterwards. You're basically ending on, like, best case scenario, non-finito with a dark up for Dragos Depelia, recapture set for Rudross on board, and, like, the Link 2 with a Dark Fairy on board, right? That's, like, the best case scenario, and you'll probably, like, draw 2 cards with Ginoldo, right? So you'll have, it's not awful. Like, the backup plan isn't terrible, but it's not nearly as strong as it would, like, the board you're setting up wouldn't be nearly as strong as it would be on any other version of the deck if it doesn't get stopped. That being said, again, like, FTKs are crazy, obviously. Like, being able to stop your opponent from getting to their turn is really, really scary. If they're on a board breaker deck, they will just lose the game. Like, genuinely, the game is just over. So keep that in mind. The only other thing I want to bring up is that into Rolad specifically, if they draw Grifo and they hold it, they can just completely own you by stopping one of your burn damage effects. They can just make it not do anything, which will just lose you the game on the spot. So just be aware of that they can in fact do that. A little scary to be doing an FTK in a format like that. If you're wondering how competitive I think this deck is, I think it's not terrible, but it is definitely not the Power Patron list I would play. Not my first choice for sure. But it's not a bad list, and that's why I'm bringing this video to you guys in general. Anyway, I've blabbered on long enough. Let's get into the combos. All right, so to start off, we're going to be doing Terminus plus any other card in hand. We're going to go Terminus, send Nervado, add Vidolium, scale Vidolium. Vidolium's going to summon a patron from our grave. We're going to summon the Nervado, and then trigger Vidolium to search the Ginoldo. We're then going to tag Nervado out for Nerva, and then Nervado will trigger, getting us to the Geprado. We're then going to go chain 1 Geprado, chain 2 Beyond the Pendulum. We're going to search Shade, and we're going to add Vidolia to our hand. We're going to use Vidolia, banish the card in our hand in order to summon from the deck a patron. We're then going to link them off for Exceed, and then scale our 2 monsters in order to then pen summon our 3 patrons back to the field. We're then going to Ixies for our first Gustav Max of the game, burn them for 2k, then bring back a material that we used off of the Gustav Max. We'll then trigger Shade to bounce itself back, and then summon Shade. We'll then use Shade and the Gustav Max to make our Purification Power Patron, and because we summoned a Power Patron, we can trigger Ginoldo to then pop itself and draw 2, discard 1. That's going to be important because we need cards in hand for some of the lines we're going to be doing. It doesn't matter what cards you draw, you just need cards in your hand. We're then going to add Theorealize, and then we're going to trigger Ginoldo to add back the Nervado that was in our grave. We're then going to, that was on the Gustav. So you actually, it doesn't matter what patron you add back here, I'm pretty sure, but you do need to add back whatever patron you had off the Gustav Max and you linked it off. We're then going to go Theorealize, send Medius for cost, look at the top card of their deck, and then we're going to make our second Gustav Max of the game. We're then going to Medius shuffle back that Gustav Max so we can use a 4th copy, and then use Medius to summon from deck the Geprado. We're then going to tag Geprado out for the Ixies. Something unique about this build of the deck is that you need to, in most of your combos, you need to use Jupiter's on-field effect to summon back a Doomsday from the grave, which is really cool. And that is why we need to be drawing 2 cards, because we need the extra card in our hand to attach to the Jupiter. We're then going to go ahead and link our Exceed and our Purification Power Patron into 4 Charmers, Quartet, and Bloom. We're then going to use our Jupiter to bring back our Doomsday Geprado, and then we're going to use Charmer, Quartet, and Bloom to bring back Purification and the Ginoldo. We're then going to tag Ginoldo out for Genora so that we can use it as material, and then we're going to Ixies the Genora and the Geprado into our 3rd Gustav Max of the game. Now we're going to link into Rahamu. That's going to let us normal summon without tributing the Nervado from our hand. And then finally, we can go ahead and use the Realize Engrave to change Rahamu to a machine, so we can then use it as material for Anger Knuckle with the Jupiter. And then Anger Knuckle can send itself to grave to summon Geprado back from the grave, and then those 2 will make our final Gustav Max. It actually isn't that hard to do, like I said. This is a combo that, again, you can do with very few cards. In fact, the next combo we're going to do is a true 1-card combo, so get ready for that. Now we have Medius 1-card combo. True 1-card combo, all you need. I will also say, for a majority of these combos, if you draw a spell trap along with the combos I'm going to be showing in this video, you can go into non-finito early and have recapture set up as an early interruption so that you can beat some amount of hand traps potentially, right? Which is really nice. We're going to go ahead and go Nervado, tag out for Nerva. We're then going to trigger Nervado to summon from deck Geprado. We're then going to link in a Beyond the Pendulum, and then Geprado 1, Beyond the Pendulum 2. We're going to get Ginoldo. We're going to get Terminus. We're then going to use Terminus, sending a patron and searching Vidolium. I think it does have to be Ginoldo. We're going to scale our 2 monsters, and then we're going to pend our 2 patrons. We're then going to link an Exceed. Exceed's going to add back Nervado, and then Exceed will summon back Ginoldo. We're then going to trigger Ginoldo on the summon to draw 2, discard 1, and then in the extra add back Terminus. We're then going to turn Nerva and the Ginoldo into Gustav Max, who will then burn our opponent for the first 2k of the game. We're then going to use Medius to shuffle back the Gustav Max to summon itself. We're then going to go Vidolium to summon back the Ginoldo that we detached from the Gustav Max. Vidolium will then trigger, searching us out a copy of Vidolia. We're then going to activate Vidolia. Vidolia will reveal a card and banish 1 out of our hand to summon another patron from deck. We'll then Ixies for the 2nd Gustav Max of the game, and then we'll tag our Geprado out for the Doomsday Jupiter. We'll then use Jupiter to bring back the Geprado that we detached off of our 2nd Gustav Max, and then link link Jupiter and Gustav into Anger Knuckle. We're then going to make our Charmer, Quartet, and Bloom, and then we're going to use Charmer, Quartet, and Bloom to bring back Ginoldo and Beyond the Pendulum. We're then going to go Ginoldo, tag out for Junora, so we can use his material, and then Ixies for the 3rd Gustav Max. We're then going to recycle some cards to summon Vidolium, because we don't care if we have follow-up for the rest of the game. We can just summon Vidolium on our turn 1. So we're going to go ahead and summon Vidolium for extension. We're going to make Rahamu. We're going to use Anger Knuckle to summon back a Gepredo, and then we're going to use Rahamu to extra normal this Nervado, and then we're going to Ixies for the last Gustav Max. So that's how you can do it with just a single card. Most of the combos I've seen online for this version of the deck are like, we have to use multiple cards in our hand and start with Medius, and I'm like, that's just not true. Like, that's genuinely just not true. Obviously, if you want, like, non-finito, you need an extra card in your hand, but you definitely don't if you want to, like, do it, if you just need to do it, you can do it without that. All right, our final combo of the day is Shade plus 2 cards in hand. We're going to go Shade, pop itself, and put the Gepredo into the extra. That's going to search Terminus. We're then going to activate Terminus, send the Nervado, and add the Vidolium. We're going to scale Vidolium. Vidolium's going to pop itself to summon the Nervado. We're then going to trigger Vidolium to search the field spell. Nervado will tag out for Nerva. Nervado will then summon Genoldo from deck, and then we'll link for Beyond the Pendulum. Chain 1 Genoldo, chain 2 Beyond, search Shade, and add back Nervado. We'll then scale our 2 monsters, and then we'll activate Vidolia in order to banish a card out of our hand and summon from the deck a copy of Gepredo. We'll then link in an Ixied, and then we'll pend 3 monsters. And then we'll go ahead and Ixies for our first Gustav Max, burn them for 2k, use Ixied to summon back the Genoldo, and then trigger Shade to bounce itself back for extension. We'll summon the Shade, we'll link in a Purification Power Patron, we'll add the Theorealize, and then we will use Theorealize to send Medius. We'll then go on ahead and Ixies for the second Gustav Max of the game, burn them for 2k, use Medius to shuffle back the Gustav Max to summon itself. Medius will then summon from the deck a Gepredo. We'll then go ahead and link for Charmer Quartet and Bloom, bringing back Gepredo and Genoldo. We'll then go ahead and use Genoldo to tag out for Genora, and then we will Ixies for Gustav Max. Something I want to talk about real quick is one really nice thing about this version of the deck is because you don't care about really any of the one-ofs in your deck outside of exactly Theorealize, you can use the banish effects of your cards a lot more freely, right? You don't really care about banishing cards like Recapture or the Amorphage cards or whatever, because all of your stuff is out of the extra deck, right? Your FTK entirely out of the extra. We're going to use the third Gustav Max to burn for 2k, and then we're going to tag out for the Doomsy Power Patron, and then we'll bring back the Gepredo, link it to Anger Knuckle, and then summon the second Gepredo back, and then Ixies for the last copy of Gustav Max. That is all the combos I have to show off. And they're all pretty good. Obviously, they can be improved with more cards in your hand and so on and so forth. But, it's like a basic rundown of how these combos work. I hope you all enjoyed. This has been a much shorter video than usual. I just don't have a lot to say about this version of the deck, right? You kill your opponent. It's not a whole lot complicated. What is nice is this deck doesn't need to like sacrifice its ability to go second that much in order to do this FTK. Obviously, there's some things you're not playing in your extra deck that would help a lot going second. No access code, no SP, I think is a really big one. I also just realized when I said with a half board you making, I was like, you can end on Purification, but no, because SP, you don't play SP, so you actually can't do anything with the Purification. Your half board's pretty bad, right? Which is why I'm like, I don't think this version of the deck's very good. I think hand traps would be a lot more popular next format because of how good Rolad is into board breakers. I would expect to see more hand traps next format, which I think makes this version of the deck ironically worse than it was pre Rolad, a deck that is actually really scary for a non-FTK deck to deal with. The next videos I want to put out, I don't know if I'll get them out before Nats, but I want to put out a going second version of the deck. I've been working on it. I think it's interesting, and I have had a lot of experience going second with this deck. I think I've won like 5 die rolls total in tournaments playing this deck. So I've got a lot of experience going second. I know this deck's crazy going second, so I am happy to bring you guys a going second build. I do think it's a viable version of the deck, so it is worth looking into. And then the other version I would like to get out before Nats as well is an actual full guide on the Rolad version of the deck. It's a lot better than I gave it credit for. There were some things I just didn't know about when I made the initial like hybrid Power Patron video about with Rolad in it. I didn't know a lot of things about the deck. I didn't know some of the interesting combos and lines you could do. I have a lot of that down now, and I'm really excited to bring it all to you. So see you all in the next video. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.